All right, let's talk about microphones. Now, if you can't see the microphone that I use when I make these videos, it's a Rode Wireless Go, and I just kind of just clip it down here on my collar. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can actually plug a microphone into that little transmitter, like a lavalier, so it's a little closer to your mouth, and that'll get more of your vocal range. But you have a transmitter, you have a receiver. But I learned a trick about Rode yesterday. They have different versions of their wireless mics that you can get. One of the versions, you have one receiver, one sending, like transmitter, so TX and RX. They have another set you buy, and it has two transmitters, one receiver. And that's super cool if you're doing interview type of podcasts and things like that. When I got my original setup, the one transmitter and one receiver, I was like, okay, I'm just going to get one. That's all I need right now. The company answer from Rode is, we don't sell the individual transmitter. I thought that can't be right. So all I did is I looked up the part number online, and I just went to another seller. I'm like, hey, I already have a transmitter and receiver. If I buy another transmitter, will it work? Yes, I got the second receiver, second transmitter. Sorry, you just need one receiver. And it was super easy. I'm going to show you here how I was able to connect it.
On the receiver, go to the bottom button that has a CH and a chain link symbol. If you press that button once, you'll see that you can pair to transmitter 1. You press it again and you can see transmitter 2. Whichever one you want to assign. For me, 1 is the one that's not linked. I want to relink to the number 1 transmitter. Click the button once, hold the button, hold to pair new device, and now you'll see it flashing. And then all you have to do is press the Rode button once on the transmitter, and there it is. Now it's linked.
Rode Wireless Go microphones. It's a 2.4 gigahertz digital transmission, 128-bit encryption, which is really good, crystal clear audio up to 200 meters. Now, a meter is like almost 3 feet, right? But it says line of sight. This is important. So if you're using a microphone like this that has to go to a receiver, you don't want to have some giant barricade or fairway cage or elevator or something that's blocking the audio signal. It obviously isn't going to work out well. Now, can you make it work if you're around a corner? It can, but there's going to be different degrees of success. You just have to try and see how it is. The materials inside the wall sometimes are better for the sound to go through than others. But generally, you don't want walls and barriers between the transmitter and receiver. Onboard recording. This is something I haven't used, and I was kind of excited to hear how long they can record for. They can record to 40 hours of internal recording. That is insane. So even without the receiver, on just the transmitter part, the mic, I could just be doing some audio dialogue, and then I could port it later, which is pretty neat. Safety channel, flexible gain control. I'm going to show you in Rode Central a setting for this, but I do suggest you take advantage of setting the gain a little bit lower than max, just so you don't overdrive the mic. And then it says it has a built-in battery. It's lithium ion, but it's up to 7 hours of battery life. Now, in real use case, I've used these things for hours and have never had a problem. I do keep them charged. So right now, because I'm not using it extensively, I keep it near a charger. I don't always keep it plugged in because I want the battery life to last the longest. Any device that uses these lithium ion things, you don't want them to go completely dead, and you don't want them full all the time. Then they're happy batteries. If you keep it plugged in all the time, you end up killing the battery for other reasons. And then if you let it just die because of the tech that goes into these lithium boards, it doesn't always come back. It doesn't always come back the same. So you don't want that. Here is the charging cable. USB-C, USB-A. The one that comes from Rode will work. If you find a USB-C to USB-C that works because it's high quality, you can do that and it'll even charge your device a little bit faster. That's if you're plugging it in to the USB-C. Another thing I did not get with this mic, but I already had it from the other part of my set, is this cool little cord. Well, this is the 3.5 jack that you'd see, for old school like headphones. When you plug it in, at least on my cameras I've tried this with, is like the perfect length. If you're going into a smart device like an iPhone that doesn't really have those kind of jacks anymore, you'd need an adapter to do it. And they have that. They have one that takes it from this type of ending to whether you need Lightning or whether you need the USB-C. They do have the adapter. Okay, but for cameras, a lot of cameras, mirrorless or DSLR, they have this little thing on them. And it just looks so cool when you have it plugged in and it's all together, because the receiver is the one that would go to your camera, and your transmitter, you need to reserve that port for your lavalier. One other thing that they have in the box is this little muff. Doesn't look like much, but if I look very, very close down here, there is a ring with 2 white dots. If I look at the top of the mic, I also see 2 dots, and this one has arrows on it. I think it's newer than the one I'm wearing, so it actually has the arrows. So what I'll do is I'll take these dots, line them up, and that little ring actually fits into a groove on the top of the mic. And you get a little quarter turn. Now it's there. And this isn't because of an obsession with furries or something like that that you want to have. It's when you're outside, you don't get so much of the wind sound and other kind of abrasive things that can impact your mic. You can buy one of these and take that little clip that I showed you that puts it inside of here. That same clip will fit like on the hot shoe mount of a camera. It can clip onto all kinds of clothing. It's extremely easy to use that way. I also opted to get this kind of box. I think there's several people that make these boxes. They might be a little bit different, but this box right here, you just take the unit. This one is a transmitter. So inside I can see it says TX And I just want to put it right there. I know that the clip always faces to the left. Now on the front of the box, some lights come on. Well, what's happening is this box is actually a charging station, and it has a built-in battery inside of the box. And how you charge the box is a USB-C on the back. Here, you're going to see a display that shows how much battery life this box has. And above where the red light is showing kind of what port is in use. It's actually kind of a cool device. And I can put, now that I have the 2 transmitters, I can put both transmitters and my receiver in the box. I can take it, especially if you're away from your main station. Yeah, can you bring a USB-C cable? Sure. There's other ways to do it. But being able to charge all 3 of them at the same time is going to save you a whole lot of effort, because you just put them in a box. You could be traveling from one location or one scene to the next. It gives it a little bit of charge, and you're good to go. You know all of your devices are ready for use. You turn on the app, and it says connect your Rode via USB. USB-C, USB-C I find works best. I think it does go USB-A to USB-C. That is even the type of cable that they include in their package, and the one they give you in their package will work the best. But if you can find a USB-C to USB-C of high quality, it works as well, and it also can charge your device a bit faster, so I prefer it. As you notice, I plug in a device and it immediately shows me some things. I plugged in the receiver. Now on the receiver, you can see it shows the main receiver plus both of the transmitting mics, as well as how much battery life they have. On your channel routing, you can have split where each of your mics gives its separate signal, like on a left and a right. You can do merged, where both of the audio signals converge, and it gives you single output. If you want to see any more information on that, if you forget what I mentioned here, you can always just click on the information icon there. Your output gain mode. You have coarse, you have fine. Camera, I don't use this one. I think it's, okay, select the best settings for your camera. Okay, fine. But on fine, what I would do is I would take this to like the -6 area. I think is okay. Some of you, okay, fine, there we go. If you are quiet and speaking and you're not getting enough volume, you can increase this, but I wouldn't start at 0. You will just be much louder and you'll overdrive your mics for most people. Now, if you're very soft-spoken, you might need to do that. If you are very loud and you're constantly overdriving the mic, then you want to change this to maybe like a -12. So how do you know if you're overdriving the mic? Well, on your receiver unit, you can see the green bars increasing as you're speaking, and that's showing you how much information, basically volume, is coming to that channel. If it goes over the green, it gets into the yellow, and above the yellow is red. When you hit this red, you have something that's like clipping, and it distorts your voice because the microphone itself cannot take in what you're trying to give it. Well, you want good sound quality. And in post, when you're trying to fix things after, you're only able to deal with what went in. So if you have a really junky signal coming in because it's clipping and it's over exposing it to that channel, then you're going to spend a lot longer in post trying to make it sound okay, when you could just fix it here, make the input level lower, and you'll be better off. Okay, back on the screen. So that's the audio. Now, if I go to device, what is it showing me here? Basically, an action that you can have for the little Rode 0 thing on the receiver. I will tell you that this is normally just my power button. So I don't know if I'm going to mess with that. You can rename. If I just want to call this one BVRX. Whoops. I'm all in space there. Okay, guess what? You can't do a space. Okay, fine. We'll just do it like this then. Save. And I did this for the other 2 devices already. What's kind of nice about this version, which you always want to make sure you're updated, is to be able to look at the battery and change the names of your device. You're able to actually just record it into your device and put it to your computer later, maybe via the Rode app or other ways. You can also see the firmware version, very important. It says I'm up to date. Right now, at the time of this recording, this is the current firmware. It's important with all of your devices to have the same version of firmware. I'm going to unplug the receiver and I'm going to plug in one of the transmitters. So let's just unplug this. It's just going to tell you again, connect your device. And I'm going to plug in the first one. I call this one PV1, but it's the first mic. So it's connecting the device. It's thinking. All right. So you could do the onboard recording. Let's check this out. So you could actually have a backup in case your other recording failed. Okay, now here I can see my battery life. Again, we have the same option there. Recording, you're not going to see anything if you don't do the onboard recording, which I currently don't. Now this part's actually very important. Diagnostics. Verify the health of your device's hardware and software. I can run that. Disconnect all Rode devices to initiate diagnostics. So let's go. The reason this is important is I have had to do this before. Press and release. Okay. Now I have my device in my hand. I'm going to press and release like it says. Yeah, fine. Got it. Okay. So everything looks like it works. And it was so fast. My receiver had an issue before, and it's not a common problem, but it would connect to the computer and it wouldn't turn on. And the power button was doing literally nothing. And the power button internally was not okay. So I had to send it in to get it repaired. But when it came back, it worked, which is the main thing. I do want to look at something here. I have the main device for the Rode setup plugged in again. When I say main device, I'm talking about the receiver. And you now see it only says one of my mics, which is the PV2. It's saying this because only one of my mics is still turned on. If I turn my other mic on, the power's on. There, it appears right away. What is the style of content you're creating? Yeah, you can use things like the wireless setup I have here. But if you're talking about like pro audio, if I'm going to be doing voiceover work, no, I'll be working in a sound studio. I'll have a much different microphone, probably nothing that's USB. It'll probably go into like an iAd that converts analog to digital and then record that. Another strategy people use is they use a separate recorder that's a much higher end than what you're going to find in a camera or these type of microphones. These get the job done, especially when it's just speaking content. But if you're using the internal microphone on your smartphone or on your camera, chances are, get you by in a pinch, get you by just maybe filming your family, but it's not the greatest quality of audio. I mean, you could get really good results sometimes, but it won't be consistent. As you're doing your setup for making content or making videos or anything you're creating, to just remember the microphone matters. The placement of the microphone matters. And so if I really wanted the voice to be a fuller sound, I'm going to have the placement of the microphone maybe half of a fist away from my mouth. If I'm wearing a lavalier, see the tip of my little finger, it's going to be really close to the corner of my mouth. I mean, basically, you just rig it up, put it on the way you think it should go, or if somebody knows some stuff and they help you, great. And then just listen to it, have other people listen to it. And if it's clear, if it doesn't have a lot of background noise, it's cutting out, it's probably fine. And you'll get feedback from people when it's not. And if you're doing higher end work, you're going to want to look for a higher end mic. And obviously you start with what you can afford and build your way up. So I hope that this part of the creative process helps you along the way. Don't forget about quality audio when you make your videos.